in your company, and you can start to pay salaries. If you already are doing some sales, then of course, maybe it doesn't make sense for you to take the investors' money. You can take a loan from some kind of financial institutions. Or, of course, to scale up, you need to take investors' money, but not just several thousands, but maybe hundreds of thousands of euros. So again, to decide where to go, it depends at what stage you are. And sometimes the teams who are on very early stage from technological perspective, maybe they are so experienced that they can immediately go to investors and ask the money because they know how to use this investors' money in a smart way. Sometimes even the team has a very good product, but the team isn't very experienced how to start the company. Then it makes sense to start from the early beginning, start with the incubator, then go to accelerator, and only then take the investors' money. Because it can be very, very expensive to take investors' money and to fail. In the end, it can be pretty expensive. Most probably, you have heard terms incubator and the accelerator. So my question is, do you know what is the difference between incubators and accelerators? So maybe someone can unmute himself or herself and to comment. Maybe you know already what is the difference between incubators and accelerators. So as I was running incubator for many years, and now I'm running the accelerator, there are several differences, but the main difference is the KPI. So in the incubator, the focus is what is the number of survived teams. So in the incubator, you usually accept certain amount of teams in a batch, and you work with all of them. And actually what you need to do, that in the end of the day, maybe after 3 months, half a year, you evaluate yourself how many teams have survived. So it means they are still working, they are still trying to achieve the goals. So, and actually, in most of the cases, incubator is, let's say, some kind of social activity. Incubators help teams to set up the goals and to be prepared for the next stage. And the next stage usually is accelerator. Again, it depends what is the main idea of accelerator, but usually accelerator doesn't care how much teams will survive. Accelerator is investing either the money or also other resources, and they hope to get back this return on investment. So and this is actually, it's a very big difference. And this is actually what you need to understand when you apply to the accelerator and what to expect. That from accelerator's perspective, it makes sense to work with the teams that shows very good progress. With the teams who all the time have the problems, and all the time they have one challenge or another challenge, and everything is bad. From accelerator's perspective, it doesn't make sense to work with such type of teams for a longer time of period. If it looks that the team is dying, then okay, shit happens, let them die. And from accelerator's perspective, it makes sense to work with the teams who shows a very good progress, that they are attracting next investments, they are starting to generate revenues, because the idea of accelerators is to increase return on investment. And I will give you an example. For instance, in our batch, also in all batches, there are some teams who perform very good and some teams who could perform better. And if I feel that working with the team A, in the end, I will earn 10 euros out of one invested euro. So of course, I will use all my resources to work with this team, and I will help them as much as I can. But in a case with the team where I have a feeling, either I will lose all the investment, or maybe I will get back 1.5 euros out of €1 invested. Of course, it doesn't make sense from my perspective to work hard with this team, because again, it's not interesting. I will not earn money in the end of the day. So, and that's why when you are in the accelerator, you can't expect that the accelerator will help you forever. So accelerator will help you during the program, or even half of the program, and accelerator will not work with the teams that all the time have some kind of challenges. So of course it depends who is running the accelerator and what is the overall goal of the accelerator, because currently there are, let's say, non-profit accelerators also, but I would say these accelerators are more than incubators. But usually accelerator is interested to return on investment. So this is the biggest difference, and actually it helps for you to understand what can you expect from incubator and from accelerator. And about the accelerators, before you, at one moment when you have ready prototype, usually you have a team, then it's a moment to decide, okay, you need some advice, you need some investment, and which accelerator to go. Usually accelerators have some kind of focus. Either they accept teams from only from some geography, so they're working with the teams from, let's say, pan-Baltic countries, or maybe they're working with the teams who are developing green technologies or hardware like we do. So we are working with the teams who are developing some kind of hardware or IoT. Of course, there are also fintech accelerators, software accelerators. So it depends what kind of startup you are. It makes sense for you to apply to, let's say, if you are a hardware startup, then you need to apply to the accelerator who works with the hardware startups. If you are in the fintech field, you need to apply to the accelerator who works with the fintech startups, because most probably this accelerator will help you more. Then usually accelerators work on cohort base. So it means there is some program with the start and with the end, and there are some certain amount of teams in a program, usually around 10, because it's optimum amount of teams that accelerator can really help during 3-4 months period. So sometimes there are a little bit more teams, but around 10 teams. And I would say what is the highest added value from my perspective if I would be a startup. So this is the opportunity to see other teams and to work with other teams in this cohort. So actually, sometimes you can learn more from other startups as from the experts. So, and actually this network you got in the program, other teams, it can help you later on. And from our previous experience, we see that startups in the program, they start to do business with themselves also, or they start to help each other. So if one startup knows some kind of expert or some kind of company, they help other teams, at least with introduction. So this is another thing. Second thing, obviously, accelerators, they are not just investors, they provide the program and the mentorship. So, and the idea of the program, it's not like when you're going to the school, you need to do some homeworks and you need to pass the exam in the end. The whole content of the program is designed in a way that the startup could accelerate as fast as possible and could be prepared for the next investment round as fast as possible. Or, of course, they could start to do sales. And again, depend on the focus of accelerator, also the content can be different in different accelerators. Also, the way how accelerators and mentors work with the team differs from accelerator to accelerator. For instance, when we started the accelerator in Latvia in 2018, our program was for 3 months, and it was unbelievable intensive. 3 months, we asked teams to be in our office every day from Monday to Friday. Our teams were sitting in our office and working with the mentors, experts every day. They had 2, 3, 4 meetings. In the morning, there was some kind of seminar, workshop. In the afternoon, they had one-to-one meeting, either with the experts, either with us. And it was unbelievable. In 3 months, we had around 40 plus experts. So, and what we understood in the end, that it was too intensive. It was too intensive for startups because literally they didn't have time to work on the business. So if they have the meetings from 8 o'clock until 5, 6 in the evening, then there are some social activities, and then there are some pitch events when the startup can start to build the prototype. There are no leftovers in the day, in 24 hours. So we understood that the program is too intensive, and we changed it. Now our program is a little bit longer, 4 months, but there is only 1 intensive week in the month when we ask teams to be on our office and to work with the mentors. So, and then the 3 weeks startup can spend on their business, because after they have received the advices from the experts, they need to reflect on that. They need to decide, does it make sense to follow the advice or no? They need to discuss among team members. And of course, they need to do some business. They need to talk with other investors, with their clients, potential or existing clients. So, but again, it depends on the accelerator. I know that still there are accelerators who have extremely intensive program. And actually, it's very difficult to decide what is better, to have a very intensive program or not. So again, it depends on accelerator. And also it depends, and also you need to decide what fits for you best, very intensive program or not. And that's why, okay, this I will mention later, before you choose to which accelerator to apply, try to find information about them, try to find companies who have graduated the accelerator. And usually all accelerators are putting down the teams who have graduated. Ask these teams, how was it in this accelerator? How much they benefited out of that? Does it make sense to apply to this accelerator and to participate in this program? And if you will do that, then for you, it will be easier to decide, does it make sense to apply to this accelerator or to another? And then you will know what to expect from one or another accelerator. Of course, accelerators are offering some resources. Some of the accelerators offer money or the investment. Yes, money or investment. So there are accelerators that are funded by public organizations, and actually they are offering, let's say, grants. For instance, I'm pretty sure also in Estonia, there are some AIT, European Innovation, forget this abbreviation, the Climate Kick Accelerator activity. So for instance, in Latvia, you can apply to this Climate Kick Accelerator and you can get actually the grant, around 12,000. In our case, you get the investment. So, and the difference is, if you get the grant, actually it's free money. When you get the investment, either you need to give away the shares of the company, and the accelerator expects to get back this investment. Some accelerators, and these accelerators usually are owned by multinationals, they offer you access to resources. For instance, you can use the equipment, you can use their advices. So for instance, ABB, they have accelerator program in Sweden. So, but they are not offering you investment, they offer you access to resources. And again, in some cases, it's extremely valuable to get access to these resources, to get access to the equipment. And actually, you don't need the investment. And of course, all accelerators have some kind of demo day at graduation. So it's kind of, let's say, the end of the program. And this part is mainly interested for investors, next stage investors who usually attend these events, and they want to see who are these teams who are graduating and who are looking for investments. What I already mentioned, there are two types of accelerators. One type of accelerators are non-profit, so they're offering different type of support without asking you shares, and maybe they're asking to pay some fee, or maybe there are some other restrictions, but in principle they are not oriented to earn. And there are other type of accelerators that are oriented to earn some money sooner or later. For instance, like Buildit, we make the investment and we expect in 5 or 6 years to get back the investment and earns the money. But I will skip this part because I think currently it's not relevant for you. This was just a visualization how usually investment funds work. Okay, I will give a very quick insight that when you talk with investors, then usually investment funds or accelerators, they are not investing their money. There are some kind of investors who gives money to fund manager or investment fund, and then this fund invests money in a startup. So that's why also this accelerator or investment fund needs to earn money to give back the investment to their investors. So actually it makes a little bit complicated, the whole structure, but sometimes it explains why fund managers and accelerators are asking questions to the startups. I will move on with, let's say, more interesting questions that can be relevant for you. And I already touched this topic, how usually program looks like. And in our case, these are 4 intensive weeks in 4 months. But before we had 3 intensive weeks, 3 intensive months. And it was overly intensive from our perspective. But again, it depends on the teams. So we know that there are startups who said that these 3 months were very, very valuable. And they actually would prefer to spend 3 intensive months rather than to have only 1 intensive week. So again, it depends. It depends on the team. It depends where the team comes from and different other aspects. Partners and mentors. So this is very important point. So when you apply the accelerator, please check what kind of partners they have, because actually this is what can you benefit. The accelerator can help you to open the doors to one or to another company. And if you know that your potential partner could be company A, and this company A is a good friend of accelerator, then most probably through this accelerator, you will get access to the right person in the company. So, and this is usually what we ask to our teams before we sign the investment agreement. We ask, how can we help you? And if the team says we need introduction there and there, and we know, yes, we know these guys, we know these companies, and we can make introduction just like that, then it makes sense for us also to help these teams. But if the team needs introduction, I don't know, in BMW, or for instance, we don't know anyone from BMW, so we will not be able to help this team. So this is very important team, and this is usually what you can find in the homepage of Accelerator, what kind of partners this accelerator have. And of course, ask the accelerator, what kind of partner organizations they have. Maybe through the accelerator, you can get some discounts, some access to the free services. For instance, our teams who participate in our program, they can get free, forget not the CAD lab, but access to one of the software that is necessary for engineers. We have access to this software and we offer it for free to our companies and some other bonuses. So also, when you talk with the accelerator, pay attention what are the investment terms, how much accelerator will invest in cash and what will be, let's say, in-kind investment. Because we have seen that sometimes accelerators are saying you can get 100K from us. And when you start to read the terms, you understand that in the end, the company gets, let's say, 20,000 euros or dollars in a cash. So the real money is transferred only 20,000, but let's say the fee for the program is 80,000. And when the accelerator decides to take the equity from the company, they plan to get shares for if they would invest 100,000. So again, and we have seen extremely expensive programs. In our case, for instance, our ticket size, it means indeed we transfer 20 up to 50,000 to our team. So it means that the company gets 20 or 30 or 40 or 50,000 euros in their bank account. So they can use this money to achieve the milestones. And the fee for the program is 2,500. So it's pretty cheap. Indeed, we have seen that the price for the program is, I think the most expensive what we have seen was 80,000 euros for the program. So it's very expensive. So this is, you need to pay attention and to ask very detailed term sheet where are written down how much the accelerator will invest, what is the fee for the program, also what is the valuation the accelerator offers. So again, the valuation of the company, it's a very tricky question. What is the value of the company that has, I don't know, just a prototype, and that's it. So actually, we can play with the Excel, and we can easily prove that the value of the company is 0, and I don't know, 10 millions. But in reality, what happens that all investors, they want to take some minority ownership of the company, but also not too less, because later on, when you will get the next investors on board, the previous investors will be diluted. And for instance, if the accelerator or early stage investor gets, I don't know, 2% of the company in the beginning, then after 3-4 years, these 2% will be diluted below even 1% of the company. And this depends on the next investor's terms. It can turn out that the early investor gets almost nothing. So again, it explains why accelerators and early stage investors usually want to take around at least 5 up to 10, 15, 20% of the company, because the risks are very high and there will be another investors who will dilute them. But so remember to ask term sheet from accelerators, and usually don't be shy and ask to send the contract, because also not always, because the evil is in the details, not always what is mentioned in the term sheet versus in the term sheet, not always everything is mentioned. And when you start to read the contract, there are small details that makes the contract either very interesting or maybe not very interesting for you. So, and I'm starting the part where I will give you some, let's say, tips and suggestions from my side. So this is pretty philosophical question from investor's side, but actually you need to be able to answer this question, how you will spend my money, so the investor will invest in your company, and how you will add value to my investment, that in the end I will earn something. And if in the principle you can answer to all this, to all the question, usually investor will say yes to the investment. And these are, let's say, the guidelines we are following when we make the investment decision. And these are, let's say, 7 guidelines we are following when we do interviews with the teams, when we work with the team, also during the acceleration program. And of course, the most important thing is the team. So this is just for information. These are the teams where we have invested. So also in all cases, when company doesn't have, when the company is established maybe a few months ago and they have no revenues, there is only few people motivated to achieve goals. So it's everything about the team. What is their experience? What are their skills? How coachable is the team? And please pay attention to this, how coachable is the team? If the team, if there is a feeling from investor's side that actually you are not coachable, you don't know everything by yourself, then why you are applying to accelerator? Then if you know everything by yourself, okay, just do that. It's very difficult to work with the teams who are not coachable. Also, what is your previous experience? And it depends. It can be that you have worked in the same business area. Maybe you have graduated university and you have, I don't know, doctoral degree, for instance, and then you know everything about the technology. It can be any kind of experience, but the most important thing is how relevant is it for this case. And now we go to the first question what I had, why we are so focused on team. Okay, depend on the source of literature, 65% or whatever number, but this is true. Usually teams fail because of the team issues, and startups fail because of team issue, and there can be different reasons, but this is true. That's why we pay a lot of time. Sometimes we even work more with the team and we don't pay attention to the technology, because we know if the team will be strong enough in one way or another way, they will find solution in every situation. Even if the technology is so-so. If the technology is very nice and we see very high potential in the technology and in the product, but the team is really weak, the team will fail. So that's why we work with the team a lot. So, and one of the main reason why teams fail is sooner or later, if the team hasn't worked together before, they start to look at each other, who owns how much of the company, and who is, let's say, committing enough time. Let's say the question is how to slice the pie. So what is the contribution for each team member? And we have seen different scenarios. Usually what we don't suggest, if there are 3 founders, not to slice the pie in 3 equivalent shares. So 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3. This is exactly what we did in the Buildit. All of us owns 1/3 of the company, but in our case, this is what all of us have agreed, and we use other way how we compensate our commitment. But in startups, we usually don't suggest to do that. But again, it depends on the team. And again, I suggest you to write in the Google pie slicer, and you can find a lot of information and, let's say, methodology, how to decide who will own how much of the company and how to compensate for the contribution. Because what we have faced in several times, that just an example, but it's a real example. There are 4 people in the team. One is the CEO, and who is responsible for all the business activities, and he also is some kind of team leader. And then there are three researchers, and the company, and all of them owns 25% of the company. But after a few months, it turned out that the CEO, and no one of them gets salary. So when it turned out that after several months, CEO spends all his time for the company, but the rest of the researchers, they spend few hours per week. And at one moment, the CEO said, "It's not okay. I think I'm spending too much. I'm spending much more time, and I would like to have a bigger part of the company." And other shareholders said, "No, in the beginning, we agreed that each of us will have the same, that the company will be shared among us 25%. And again, this discussion came up after a few months, and they couldn't agree how to work on in the future, because one person spent all the time, others didn't. And as they couldn't solve this question, we decided not to invest in this company. So my suggestion is Google this and then pay attention how to slice the pie among the shareholders. One more thing, there is a big difference between team member and employee. And it's a question, is your team member a real team member or employee? And the difference is that the employee, in the moment when you will be in trouble, when the company will be in trouble, and maybe you will not have money to pay out the salaries, most probably the employee will leave the company, because there will be another company who will offer a salary. The real team member will stay with you also, not only when you will in the good times, but also in the bad times. So talk with your team members how long you can survive, for instance, without paying salaries. And right now we see it in our portfolio teams, because the coronavirus has influenced also business for some of our companies, and revenues dropped down dramatically. And what some of our teams did, they decided that they have enough money to pay salaries to employees, but they're not paying out salaries to the, let's say, the core team, because they are the core team and they're ready to work few months for free, because to keep, to survive, to keep the team together, to keep company in the market. But they need to pay salary to their employees, otherwise these employees will leave the company. So again, and it's very clear to see who is the team members and who are the employees, because we also see that in some of our companies there is let's say, negotiations between team members who are not ready to work for free in bad times. When you apply and when you go to the meeting with the investor, we have seen it pretty often that in the pitch, the startup says, "Okay, we all of us are superheroes, and this is the reason why we will achieve the goals, and everything will be fine." But the superhero in the team doesn't make the super team. It's a question: has this team work together? are they really as the team? Then it's also a question why this superhero joined your team. And indeed, we have seen the cases where actually, yes, among the team members, I mentioned person who previously has worked in the Skype or in the Google or whatever, and obviously he's very smart, but actually he's not part of the team. The team has some kind of agreement that they will mention this person as the team member, but in reality, this person has committed to spend 1 hour per month. Also, if when you are telling about your experience, it's very good that you are involved in different projects and you are very experienced. But if in the parallel you have involved in different businesses, then it's a question how you will deal with your time, how much time you will spend for this company and how much time you will spend for your other businesses. And if from investor's perspective are some concerns that maybe this is the project for you, not the business, again, maybe investor will decide not to invest. The next thing, of course, the product, the technology. What is unique in this product? And is there theoretically any chance that you will earn money with this product? And that is what I like, very good advice. Don't make a perfect product. And this, again, answering to the first question, why did we fail with this electric scooter? We were trying to develop a perfect electric scooter. So when you ask what is the perfect body, who knows? It depends. It depends on the people you ask. And our mistake was we were sitting in 4 walls too long time, developing some kind of perfect product, but perfect for us. And we were not going out to talk to our clients or talk with the potential users and to ask them, what is the perfect product for you? How you like this or how do you like that? And when we did that, we did it a little bit too late. And we found out that we have made some mistakes because we had assumptions that the perfect scooter should look like that. But when we started to talk to our clients, potential clients, they said they don't care this or that. And there doesn't exist like a thing, perfect product. Go out and talk to your clients as soon as possible. Don't wait too long.
Otherwise, I have a question.
Yep.
Sorry to interrupt. I want to know, what do you think? How many persons should I interview, or how many persons should I talk to or give my prototype to just experiment, so I have good, true results? Yeah. You understood the question?
Yeah, yes, I understood. Okay. And there can be 2 answers. The one answer is maybe it's enough with 1. The second answer is as much as possible. Mm-hmm. So it depends. It depends. It depends on the resources. It depends on the product. It depends on many, many, many other variables. So in our case, what was our mistake? We made the assumption that it's very easy to drive the kick scooter. So, and what we thought, without reason, but we started to talk with the people who actually were using scooters before. And obviously, they didn't have any problem to drive this kick scooter. And then suddenly we gave to test the scooter to the women who have never ever used kick scooter before, and it turned out that for them there are some problems to start to drive with the scooter, because for them there are, let's say, if the person has never driven this kick scooter and the 3-wheel kick scooter, there were problems with the balancing of that in the beginning of the drive, and this we found out actually a little bit too late. In the beginning, when we gave users to test, we chose wrong audience. We gave to the friends, and actually again, this is what I understood later. We gave to the friends because we were a little bit too shy to give just a normal person to test the scooter, because we thought, okay, if he or she will say they don't like the scooter, let's try with the friends. And of course, what friends said, it's great, it's nice, it's perfect, it's the best product I have ever seen. And of course, we had a lot of fans who liked the product, but none of them were ready to pay the money for the scooter. And those who were planning to pay, they didn't actually like some details of the scooter. So again, it depends on the product. But as soon you start to go out and to talk with the people, you will find out what are the real questions they're asking. And you also need to spend, you need to do the homework and to decide with whom to talk. And if you have limited resources, you need to spend hours and hours to decide whom you will give to test your product, that you can use these results in a good way. Otherwise, if only friends will be the first users, and of course the friends almost never give honest answer. It depends, but my experience was that usually friends said everything is great, but it was not. So again, it depends, but the first thing is just go out of the room and give the product to your potential clients, and not to the friends, but to the clients that you are expecting they will buy the product. And of course, pay attention. Is there a real problem and real persons who are ready to pay for that? And again, if you will go out and you will start to talk with your potential clients, you will find out, are they ready to pay for this service, for this product? And don't ask how much you would be ready to pay. Ask how much this problem costs for you. If the problem costs for them 100 euros, most probably they will be ready to pay for the solution 90 euros. If the problem costs for them 100 euro, then most probably they will not be ready to pay 110 for solution. If someone would ask me how much I'm ready to pay for this pen, 0, because I don't need them. Usually I get them as a gift, and I don't remember when I bought the last pen in the shop. So usually when you attend the conferences or some events, you get these pens for free. So, and again, the last thing about big market or growing market, it's very nice that at this moment, the market is really big. But this question, is market going up or it's already is going down? And of course, from investors' perspective, it's more interesting to invest in the product that is in the growing market, not in the big market, but that is going down. So those who are reading Russian will understand. So, but the idea is, again, on early stage, sometimes teams are so focused to make something unique, but they forget why. How can you use this unique solution? So sometimes it's okay to come up with copy-paste solution, but at least there is some sense how to use it. So don't focus too much to be unique. When you talk about your technology, don't say we don't have competitors. This is what we hear, I don't know, in 1 out of 5 presentations when startups say we are completely unique and there are no competitors. Everyone has competitor. So in one or another way, or another way, another mistake that startups sometimes say, everyone in Europe is our client. It can't be so. Please focus what is your client. Maybe your client is people living in big cities from the age 25 to 35 who use, I don't know, iPhones, whatever. but please be focused, because then you will know better with whom to talk, whom to ask the questions. Because if you are saying that everyone in Europe or in the world is your client, then how can you, with whom you will start to talk? With young people, with those who are very rich people, or you need to decide who is your target audience. And if you focus, it will help for you. And of course, in the end, done is better than perfect. Don't stay too long in your laboratory. Don't stay too long in your garage. Go out and start to talk with your potential clients. Valuation, this I already talked a little bit. And this is just one comment from one of the teams who just said that actually the value of the company is several millions, because he found out that if he will protect the idea, this will be €1 billion market. So, but it actually doesn't correlate with the value of the company. And of course, when you talk about the valuation, it's a saying, never sell the bear skin before you have killed the beast. But you have to sell, let's say, the shares of your company before you know what will be the value. But think a few steps ahead. If you will give away too many shares in the beginning, your company maybe will not become investable anymore. Just imagine if you will give away, I don't know, well, let's say a very extreme example, 40% of your company for €20,000. So it means someone will own your company for investing just €20,000. And if you will need the next investor, pretty soon you will become the minority owner of your own company. And then it's a question, what is your motivation to stay in this company that actually is owned by others? It's okay if it happens when you have raised millions and you have revenues, millions of euros, but on early stage, don't give away too much equity for too less investment. So usually, of course, there isn't such thing like a standard, but usually it's okay to give away 10% for 100K, but it depends. Does the company has already revenues, how ready is the product, so and other reasons. But don't give away too much equity for too less investment. And that's why it's good to apply to different accelerators, because then you can compare what is the price for the company in different accelerators, what they're offering. And again, when planning budget, don't overestimate the possible incomes and underestimate the costs. And for you who apply to the Prototron and you said that you would achieve the milestones with this or that amount of money, think twice. I think I have never seen the budget where everything has been according to the budget. Usually there are some unforeseen costs, and then usually teams spend a little bit more than they expected. That is just example from Buildit experience. When we were planning to start the Buildit, our assumptions was that in 2018, in the February, we will finalize all formalities and we will organize the program starting in March 2018. So it means at that moment, also we will have some incomes. And we had the employees and we were ready to start to pay salaries starting from the March. In reality, it took 4 months longer to finalize all formalities. But we had employees at that time and we had to pay them salaries, but actually there were no tasks to us to do them. So we were in the very big problems. We solved them. It was very difficult times for us. So I know what I'm talking. when you are planning something. And even sometimes the most pessimistic scenarios, in the end, they are pretty optimistic ones. So, and again, this was the plan last summer we had, and just because of some surprises, we think we will have one more batch. And in our case, it means we have additional costs. Now we need to decide how to cover these costs, because when we were planning the budget, we thought that we will not have one more batch in the spring 2021. Now we know we will run one more batch, but these are the costs for us. How to cover these costs, this is what I'm dealing right now. And in our case, the last question, what we ask to ourselves is, can we add value to the startup we want to invest? And this is also the task for you when you apply to accelerator. Be very precise. What do you expect from the accelerator? And if in the meeting with the accelerator, you cannot come up with, let's say, the list of expectations, it's perfect. Then it's also, you make much easier for the accelerator to understand how they can help you, because usually if the accelerator can't help you, they will not invest in your company. And the last comments, do your homework. Before applying to accelerator or before talking to investor, try to find someone who has worked with this person before, and you can do it. The world is small. You will find some companies who have received investment from this investor, and usually these teams already share their experience. Prepare some minimum information about yourself. Make some profile, make one pager, make some page deck so that you can present your idea. So, but about these public profiles, yes, well, make them in the LinkedIn, in F6S, so that investor starts to do the background check for you, they can find some information about you. Also, be ready to present without slides, because sometimes technology doesn't work. Be on time. If you have agreed to have a meeting at 2 o'clock, then be exact at 2 o'clock at the meeting, a few minutes before. And the last thing, when you have the meeting and the investor interview you, don't start to argue with each other. This is what we have seen. And if the team members start to argue with each other, it's very interesting. It's very interesting why the team starts to argue with each other during the interview. So from our side, that's it. From my side, that's it. And my wish is the idea is worth nothing until it is executed. So start to build your idea right now. Start to work, not tomorrow, but today. It's better to do something today than to postpone it tomorrow. So, and if you have some questions, please ask.
Thank you very much, Matiss. Large round of applause to you. And I will read the questions that we already have. Alexei asks, as you said, you would invest into a business, but not into a project. Could you elaborate on this?
So yes. The project, okay. We have seen the teams who are, let's say that the team members are the shareholders in other companies, and actually this is the core business. Then suddenly they saw some opportunity, and for them it's like a project. Let's try out. Let's try to sell, I don't know, 10,000 units of something. And obviously, we will make the money out of that. But sometimes you can feel that the team has no long-term goals with this idea. So the idea is to sell 10,000s and that's it. And then they will start another project, that they are just moving from one project to another. And I'm not saying it's bad. You just need to find another way how you finance these projects. And from investors' perspective, it's okay to put money in such type of project if in the end you can earn out of that. But if the project is designed in a way that the team will earn, I don't know, 2 euros out of 1 euro, from investors' perspective, it's not very interesting because usually investors expect to earn 10x. So if they invest 1 euro, they plan to get back 10 euros. And I explain why 10 euros, because usually out of 10 investments, at least half or 60% fail. So 66 projects out of 10 are written off. So, and few, 1 or 2 investments need to compensate all other investments.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I think the answer is clear. And the next question is about the same topic. So most prototypes start as an ideas and conducted as projects. When you jump from project to business, according to you?
Very good question. And no one has asked it before. Let me think a second. Yes, the answer is. And the answer is, let's say, what is the big dream of the team? Why did you start this project? Is the idea, again, your big dream is to be the #1 company in the Europe who offers some kind of equipment for, I don't know, disabled people, for instance. And this is the big dream you want to achieve. And then it's a question how you will achieve your big dream. For the project, usually, the idea is, okay, we want to earn certain amount of money, and just in a way, how we will earn that. Maybe in this or another way. But in the long, for the companies, there are some, let's say, bigger dreams. And also, if the team has a big dream, what they want to achieve, then this is the reason why other team members agree to join this team and to work together. So, and let's say for the company, there is some kind of bigger perspective. But I agree that in one moment, it's the difference between project and the company is pretty blurry. So you can't say that this is where the project ends and this is where the company starts. Of course, it can be that the difference between project and the company is not easy to understand, but it depends on the team, and this is what we are trying to find out when we do the interview. But yes, it's a good question. And there isn't a very good answer on that, or very precise answer where project ends and let's say the long-term goal starts.
Okay, thank you. Maybe if I understood correctly, then basically project with a long-term vision is almost a company.
Yeah, we could say that.
Okay. The next question from Christian is, from a team's point of view, what are some red flags to watch out when you are looking for an accelerator?
From an investor's perspective?
From a company's perspective.
From company's perspective.
Yes.
Again, it's
imagine if you have.
I know. I just trying to find the right words how to explain that, because it depends on individual levels. So, for instance, for me, it's very important that we have, with my business partner, we share the same values. So actually, we share the same values. We understand how the things should be done. For instance, in the example with the stick scooter, as the persons, as individualities, we were completely different people, and we had different values. And the way how we looked at the things was completely different. For instance, I can give you an example about the Buildit. We are 3 shareholders, and from one point of view, we are very different as the person, as individualities, personalities. For instance, one René, who is one of the shareholders, he is the guy who is, he's optimistic. He always see only the bright side of the picture and everything is great for him. Then I'm the one who is a little bit skeptical about the things, and I usually want to spend a few hours to think and to discuss. And then there's Alexander, who also likes to follow, let's say, the arguments, and he's the person who also believes in the gut feeling. But we have tried to work together, and it turned out that we, in one or another way, we can make the decisions. And despite we are making, we have different, let's say, values, we can make decisions and we can work together. I don't care. I don't know that René, that he is a very optimistic guy and he believes in people, and sometimes if he would make the investment decisions, I think he would invest in many teams, and we would we would be in the troubles pretty soon. And there is a very good balance. Again, usually in the team should be the balance. If there is someone who is very optimistic, then there should be someone who is, let's say, the skeptical guy. And in our case, it works. And it depends also depends on every team, what kind of person you are. We have seen the teams where everything works fine, where one of the shareholders own 95% of the company, and the second guy owns only 5% of the company. But the guy who owns 95% of company, he spends only half of his time for the company. But in this case, it's fine. They have agreed on these terms, and everything goes very well. So again, it depends. And but please spend, I don't know, hours and hours with your potential team members discussing these questions. And it's also sometimes good to, I don't know, to have some informal meetings, to have the trip together somewhere, just to know what kind of person your next team member is.
Okay. Thank you very much for the answer. We have a question. When startup applies to or looks for an accelerator, what they should look out for? What are the red flags that they need to see?
Yes, what I said already mentioned during the presentation. Please read carefully what are the terms. If you don't understand something, ask the accelerator, because sometimes it's written in very complicated language, because lawyers have done it, and it's difficult to understand from, let's say, from the person perspective who is not familiar with the terms that are used by legal advisors. Ask to explain, ask your friends, yes, ask the contract, ask the terms. So this is one thing. Try to find out the companies who have participated in this program and ask what do they think about that. So, and basically that's it. It's like when you are making a decision, I don't know, to buy something, you would also do some background checks. So you would like to understand what will be the terms, how expensive it will be. And so like normal business decision, do the homework, try to find someone who has worked with this company before, with this accelerator.
Great answer. Thank you very much. We have another question. What's your opinion if you look at taking a loan or taking an investment from investor?
So again, depends on the case. Obviously, if you take the loan, it means you keep the control over the company. And if actually you don't need any advice, and the only thing what you need is the loan, is the money, and actually you have access to take a loan, just do that. And if And if the loan is without any, let's say you don't need to give personal guarantee to the loan, then okay, of course, why not to take a loan? If you take the investment, then usually you don't give any personal guarantees for the investment. Of course, you agree to give away the shares of the company, and later on, when you will be the unicorn, you will share the profit. But if everything will go bad, then at least you will have option to start everything from the zero, or from the zero. If you will take the loan and you will give some personal guarantee, then maybe you will start everything from -10. So it depends what are the terms for the loan. If you need to have only few thousands, obviously it doesn't make sense to go to investor and to ask, I don't know, 5,000. It doesn't make sense from investor perspective, at least from accelerators perspective, to invest 5,000, because there are some fixed costs that are related to any investment decision. So if you need 5,000, 10,000, maybe it's easier to take a loan rather than to go and to ask investors money.
Thank you.